Welcome back to a very special episode of your favorite Sacramento sports show.
Beam City
We
Sports.
are back in the studio with a very special guest from Enjoy Basketball, Christian. Very happy to have you on our show. How you feeling, man?
Fantastic. Great to be with you guys.
Yeah, it's fun to have you on. We've been wanting you on for a while. We met you at All-Star Weekend when, Numbers on the Board did their live show, so that was really fun for us. But yeah, happy to get you on. You got the craziest college ball knowledge in the whole world, in my opinion. I've never met or seen anyone that knows more about college ball than you do, so got to give you some props there. But yeah, happy to have you on. I guess we can just jump right into some interview questions. How did you first get involved with Numbers on the Board and Enjoy Basketball?
So I graduated college 2022, moved to Chicago to work for a production company and bounced around a bit between then. So that company ran out of money essentially. My internet just lagged. Are we good?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
good.
we're
It's
good.
a little laggy, but we're fine.
Um, but yeah, so then I was in between jobs. I worked at a restaurant for a bit, and then I got a seasonal job working for the Chicago Bulls, which was super dope. I was doing video editing and media management, but that ended at the end of that season. And I was like, all right, I gotta, here's another summer where I'm on the hunt. And I worked at NBC Sports Chicago, which broadcast, the Bulls, the White Sox, and the Blackhawks. They were losing their contract rights with those teams because the new CHSN started. You hear the guys talking about like getting the antenna because you can't watch the
Yeah,
Bulls games unless
yeah,
you do that. And then as that role was coming to an end, I was just looking for jobs I wanted to stay in Chicago, and Enjoy popped up on LinkedIn. Like I was just straight up on LinkedIn, and then I messaged um, a guy named Joe Pinchin, who's the head of content for the Bulls, and I knew that he knew Kenny, and was like, "Hey, like I just applied for this job. Like if you wouldn't mind just putting in a word, just make sure they see my resume and stuff." And then met with a couple people on the team, and within 2 weeks, I was in. And I mean, I'm just so lucky that this opportunity worked out. Um, and it's just been everything and more since I started.
yeah. That's a crazy story. Super awesome for you. You definitely seem like a perfect fit with Numbers on the Board and all those guys. They seem like they love you. You're super close with P. I know you help out with his show Teed Up. Love seeing you on there. You guys have done some crazy interviews already. I know you just had Roy Hibbert on the other day. But what's been your favorite interview so far? I know Adam Silver went on Numbers on the Board, so that's definitely got to be up there for you.
That one's been huge for the brand. For me personally, though, it was Jalen Wells, who we
Yeah.
got at All-Star,
Mhm.
because he was just like one of my favorite players in college basketball last year, and I was tweeting nonstop. Like he was like, I know everyone, in the draft space, which I'm not like fully in, but I dip my toes in, wants to just be right and like catch something that other guys can't. And like, when you put 20 predictions out, like obviously you can gas up your favorite ones and tuck away your
Yeah.
bad ones. But like he was like him and Keyshawn George were like my two that I was like the loudest on. And to be able to, we were gonna have Grady Dick on, and then
Mhm.
that fell through last minute, and I just had DM'd Jalen a few times, just like when he was at Washington State, and I messaged him, he gave me his agent's contact, and then like that was just a big moment for me, like early on in my the career as a producer, to be able to coordinate with an NBA agent and like get, you know, a freaking Memphis Grizzlies rising star
Yeah.
to a hotel. Like I had to call this like Uber Black for him, and like this Grizzly security guard was with him, and just being able to meet him uh was really cool. And I was just proud of myself that I was able to get scrappy and get a legit interview for us. So
Yeah,
shout out
Yeah.
Jalen Wells.
that was like, I mean, huge for you guys, but
Yeah.
for us, we're just like, oh my gosh, that's a sack legend right there,
Mhm.
and he's on
Zach
our
Legend.
our favorite show. Like,
Mhm.
it was really cool to see like you guys talking to him about just everything going on with his rookie year and just how well it's been going. But I mean, no, yeah, it's seeing that I was like, damn, we got a sack legend on the show
Yeah.
already over there. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually played against Jalen in high school.
No
Uh,
way.
yeah, when I was a sophomore, we were in the same tournament. I went to Del Campo,
Yeah.
and he went to Folsom, which was, one of the best high schools in Sacramento. And we lost by like 40. So, I didn't do anything crazy, but I remember him playing against him, and now seeing him in the league, it's crazy to see.
His sophomore year, he told us was like, I'm pretty sure he that was like when he broke out because he was like barely on JV or something,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
took off. So did he play well in that game?
Yeah, I remember him playing pretty well, and we had no one to really stop anyone on that team because, they just overmatched us in every aspect of the game. But I do remember him standing out, and my one friend, Alec, who's like really into college ball, he's always been talking to us about how he's going to make the NBA. He's going to make the NBA. And
Love
Look
it.
at him now. He's a starter on the Memphis Grizzlies. So it's crazy. Um, but yeah, so you mentioned what you were doing before you worked with, numbers on the board now and everything. Crazy story. But so where are you from? Are you from Chicago or are you from somewhere else?
I'm from Rhode Island. I'm from outside Providence. I lived there
Okay.
until I went to school at Wake Forest in North Carolina and then moved to Chicago after graduating. So I've been three different regions now, South, Northeast, and Midwest.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. You've been around. What was your favorite NBA team growing up?
So funny you should ask that because okay, let me just say this. I became an NBA fan when I was around 10, 11, and I'm a New York. Oh, there goes the poster.
Uh,
I was a New York sport, like I grew up a Yankee fan, a Giants
okay.
fan, because that's where my parents are from. And I was like, okay, like by default, I guess I'm a Knicks fan. But the Knicks kind of sucked. Like I got a Nate Robinson jersey, but like I didn't watch the Knicks play any games. Um, and I wasn't into like gaming yet. So I was just a very soft Knicks fan. But then the first NBA game I ever went to was, I was in seventh grade, so like this was like 2012. It was Knicks Mavs at the Garden during the peak of insanity, and he had
Ooh,
27 and 14. And it was also J.R. Smith's first game back from China during the lockout.
wow.
So it was an electric game, and I got my Jeremy Lin shirt, so I was like in on the Knicks. But that year I also like just that's when I started playing the video game and I just fell in love with the Thunder
Oh yeah.
and I was became a
Same
huge
with
Russell
him.
Westbrook fan
Same
and
with him.
Oh, me.
I I became a Thunder fan and that's when I started like watching like kind of the year after they made the finals. Like I said I was a Thunder fan, but like when I started getting into actually watching them and stuff was the year after. And when they blew the 3-1 lead to the Warriors, like one of like that's probably the top three most devastating sports things in my
Oh,
fandom career.
oof.
But then I broke my ankle playing soccer the summer, like also like 2 days before Durant went to the Warriors, which
Mhm.
was even more sad than them losing. Anyways, that made me lean even more into Westbrook. Like my peak Thunder fandom was those Russ PG teams.
Mhm.
I really believed in them and would just be so sad when they lost in the playoffs. Stay with me now. So
Okay.
then I rode with Russ, I rode with the Thunder, but then when Paul George got traded to the Clippers, and then it was obvious that Russ was gonna leave too, um, and then obviously goes to Houston, I was just kind of torn because I'm like, well, I like James Harden from the Thunder too, so like I guess I'm a Rockets fan now. Like it's like the Thunder are clearly rebuilding, and like I'm not tied to Oklahoma City, so I was like, do I become a Rockets fan? Like I guess like because I actually thought they could like win the championship and stuff, but then the Rockets and Thunder played in the playoffs, and like I'm just like feeling myself. I'm like, man, I love Russ, but like I'm like, it's kind of cool what Chris Paul is doing with like these young guys and like Steven
Yeah.
Adams and Roberson and all these guys I've just been rooting for. So I was just kind of torn watching that series. And then and then Russ bounced around to the Wizards. They're in the bubble with everything. Point is, after that, I just kind of became a free agent because I was following Russ around. I'm like, I'm not a Wizards fan. Like, what am I doing? And then it's like I've rocked with the Thunder, but they were so bad. It wasn't like I was like going out of my way to watch them. So now, of course, my two teams who were my favorite teams there's a chance they're playing in the finals and that I'm like not even like a real fan anymore. So I like those organizations, but like I love watching the Pacers play and it's perfect that I work for Enjoy because I really do just enjoy basketball. Like I was like rooting for the Timberwolves playoffs because I like the Timberwolves. Like I like watching Ant play. I love their role players. I love Nas Reed. I love DiVincenzo. I love Alexander Walker. So it's kind of fun that I work for this company because I really do just like enjoy basketball and I even though like those are my teams like I don't miss out on the fact that like I'm not getting to celebrate this Thunder thing. It's like it's dope for OKC, you know. It's
Yeah.
like I'm just not emotionally attached. I was just so devastated like with the Dame buzzer and Durant leaving. I went through so much heartbreak that I kind of
Oh,
like sounds kind of sad, but like I'm kind of happy that it went that way because it's made
Yeah.
in my experience as a fan honestly more enjoyable.
Yeah.
uh,
We definitely know pain here in
it,
Sacramento
yeah.
as a sports fan.
Like, I mean, I just wanted to relate a little bit on that just because, like, in that time, like in 2013, 14, when Russ, KD, and Harden were all there in OKC, like, I mean, the Kings were down bad. That's still when Cousins was here, and like we were just, I mean, bottom of the barrel. It was good basketball here, but I mean, it wasn't good basketball to be in the playoffs. So then rooting for the Thunder at that point, like just that exciting team, all of that got me so excited. I remember my mom was also like, always just like, "You down with OKC?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know me. Yeah, oh yeah." But
Yeah.
like hearing you're a big OKC fan, that makes me hype.
Yeah, I was kind of the opposite. I'm a big Steph Curry fan. Steph Curry is my idol. He gave me his wristband when I was like 12 years old before he won MVP. He signed my basketball card in like 2013. So, I've loved Steph, and that 3-1 comeback for you was one of the worst moments, but for me, it was probably one of the best
Oh,
because I thought that series was over. But then, of course, the Warriors, broke my heart in the finals that year. But yeah, me and Luke are diehard Kings fans, of course, from
I are.
Sacramento, and it's been rough for a long time. We had 1 year, and now we're back to who knows what. We're pretty much the Chicago Bulls at this point.
Wait, so let me ask, as a
Yeah,
Steph guy, when
yeah.
he drops 50 on you in game seven, how are you
Oh
feeling?
yeah. That series was so tough for me because I never really had to pick. I rooted for the Warriors pretty much every playoffs because the Kings never were in it. And then the 1 year the Kings make it, it's the Kings versus the Warriors. And half of my friends are Kings fans, half of them are Warriors fans, and they're like, "You got to pick a side. You got to pick a side." I end up picking the Kings side, and I mean, Steph dropping 50, it was fun to watch because I love his game, but I was also pretty heartbroken that that Kings team was over, and we love De'Aaron, and now he's gone. So yeah, it didn't work out good for the Kings, but that was a
Yeah.
tough series for me for sure. Um, but yeah, going back, we got the Through the Wire merch in the back. I don't know if you see that right there. Definitely been, I haven't missed a Through the Wire / numbers on the board episode since before 2020. I remember during, when everything shut down, I looked up best basketball podcasts, and that was the first one that came up. And I remember listening to my first episode was Mike putting Terry Rozier in the top 10 point guards. And ever since that episode, I've never missed an episode. So I was going to ask you, were you watching them back then when they were through the wire? Were you a big fan?
I actually was not.
Oh,
I had like seen some of Kenny's videos and
mhm,
stuff, but like I really wasn't uh in their universe, which
mhm,
is what I think a couple things from that. One, like when I met them, like obviously like I as like I was applying for the job and everything, like I had like
mhm.
looked into them and everything, and I was like I like what these guys they stand for, and then I dove into clips on the board, shout out clips, like
Shout out.
and I was just like dying laughing. I'm like, these guys are like the best guys ever, and I just became immediately once I started just like being there live for them recording, like just I just I felt like it just clicked right away. Like I understand why their following is the way it is, but I also think it helped me professionally that like I wasn't a fan of them for like years before because then maybe I would have, put them on a pedestal. But like I can like the fact that I kind of could come in and just like obviously I had to warm up a bit to
Yeah.
feel confident in around them and just be when I'm directing them essentially creating content. But no, I didn't grow up a numbers fan, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I watched the episode you guys dropped yesterday on the Enjoy Basketball channel with that the trivia games and all that. That was super fun to watch. Hey, shout out to Mike though. Mike's putting on. He's wearing the
Like,
crown. You're setting him up nice. That P has me dead though. When he was so mad about the first part where it wasn't determined whether you could put it in a certain spot, it has to be a certain number. That was pretty funny to me. That was like an all-time moment. Um,
it's
but
just
yeah,
good for the channel. And I think it's good. I'm not rigging anything. Mike won that fair and
no, I
square.
didn't think you were rigging anything. Yeah.
I'm just saying it is good for the channel when it's more balanced who wins. I don't,
Yeah.
if Pierre wins every time, then he's just cocky about it. And then it's less exciting for the audience. I want it to be more balanced. So I'm trying to get games that levels the playing field a bit. Because at the end of the day, if we're trying to get players in the 2011 Magic, he just has everyone kind of rinsed. Even Kenny, like he's just
Yeah.
really.
They definitely know their ball
That-
like more than life.
That's perfect because, like, I mean, every time we get into some sort of game or whatever, any trivia thing, Tyler's just like, "Oh, I got that." I'm like, "Yo, I need some questions for me, man." Like,
Yeah, we try and incorporate some Kahoot games and stuff like that. So that's been pretty fun. You guys have definitely inspired us with a lot of stuff, a lot of different,
oh yeah,
certain segments and all this stuff. I love Mike's drop the mic where he said which GM has the hardest job this summer. I think we're gonna do like an episode on that in a couple weeks once the off season starts. So you guys inspire us in so many ways.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
there's one question I wanted to ask you.
yeah.
Like, since you're, I mean, a big college ball guy, with Sac State going on right now, I don't like. How do you feel about all the moves that Sac State has made with Shaq and Mikey and Shakir coming, Mike Bibby's being the coach, and even their football team like taking all the steps? Like, have you had any time to think about anything like that?
I followed like Bibby and Shaq getting involved, of course. I think it's interesting, with the influx of money. into college sports of being able to essentially buy a roster. Like, Steph's doing it at Davidson. I think Trae Young might be doing it at Oklahoma. And that's only going to keep growing. What's interesting though is you've seen how money being inserted places has really helped teams, and others it's just kind of made a drama. It's just good teams haven't been able to form because the
Yeah.
entire team is resetting year to year. Guys are just there to get their bag, essentially, like the whole building a culture and having vets on the team, like that part is kind of dying, which as a college basketball fan makes me sad a bit, and that's why I love a program that can retain players and stuff. But like at the end of the day, it's kind of impossible to retain players without having that cash. Because I mean, how do you turn down 3 million when your current school's offering you 200,000?
Yeah.
Anyways, Sacramento State is the type of school though that just having those names attached and having that money just brings in talent that you're not typically getting to that league. It's like the same thing of primetime Deion Sanders going to Jackson State. Like you're not just having the flash and the money. I'm not saying he was necessarily paying them, but like, you know, we know what college sports is nowadays.
Yeah.
I just think Sacramento State is going to be able to bring more talent. Does that necessarily translate to wins? Maybe not. Like maybe shit does hit the fan. Like you look at Kansas State last year was a prime example of it. We don't know what's going to happen with BYU, but BYU, I think they're going to be good because they have so much talent. Like they're probably going to be preseason top 10, but you never know. Like AJ's obviously moving on to the league. You've got your point guard making $4 million. Like it'll just be interesting to see, what schools who spend a lot of money are able to actually make a good team versus just have a lot of talent. And that's something that we'll continue to see play out. But like I said, for a school as small as Sac State to have this much flash and to be on people's radar, like is obviously going to be really good for them.
Yeah, we're definitely hyped. We're definitely gonna
Yeah.
go to some games, see Mikey, and hopefully he can show out like he was in high school. But going back to the college and the draft, we all know what the top three is going to be in this year's draft. But I want to hear your top three
Do we
prospects.
know? Do we know
I
who
think
number
we
two
know.
is?
I think we know. I mean, maybe not because the Spurs are number two.
I don't know.
But I see them taking Dylan Harper and probably moving him in the future or before the year even starts, or I don't know. Maybe they'll trade the picks. Who knows? But the top three's pretty much been solidified most of the year. I just wanted to know your favorite top three prospects outside of those three guys.
So I'll start with Maxime Renault from Stanford. Our guy Rafael Barlow who came on Teed Up is a huge fan of him too. Averaged 20 and his combination of points, rebounds, blocks, and threes. I think were the four stats. The only player to repeat that, like in the last 15 years of college basketball or more, was Kevin Durant at Texas. And he's also made the most threes as a 7-footer in college of anyone not named Lauri Markkanen. So it's like he's in some elite company with those things. He is just such a fluid. He's just so fluid at his size. Can really shoot the ball. He was shot maybe like 35% from three, but like, sometimes you got to find the balance between the eye test and the analytics. And like to me, I'm like he's a good shooter. Like I don't care. Like he was the best player on his team. You know, you're not going to get as good looks as you're getting wide open looks
Yeah.
every time as some of these other bigs. But I'm just a really believer in his offensive skill. Defensively, he can really move his feet. He got better as a shot blocker. When you look at my comp for him, it was like kind of like a souped up Luka Garza. Like he's quicker. Like Luka Garza is a little bit more bully ball in the post.
Yeah.
Like he was more dominant, knocking guys around on the inside in college. But like he hasn't been. He was an unbelievable offensive player at Iowa. And he like can't do anything in the NBA. And like I just look at a guy like Quentin Post, who I liked a lot of Boston College. He was like playing real playoff minutes, and sometimes he was overmatched. The Rockets also have Shane Gooden and Adams on the inside, so it's like that was a lot to deal with. But I look at guys like that, and I'm like, Reynaud to me is better than them, and his little micro skill his shot fake is unreal. I just feel like shot fake is such an underrated just with the pace and space of the NBA. Like if you can get it, if your shot is respected enough that you can and your pump fake is convincing enough, like just attacking closeouts and stuff, like I just think he's ready to go to play. 4-year student at Stanford. Obviously, you got to be a pretty smart guy to do that. He's ultra
Yeah.
competitive. I'm in on him. He's old, but who cares? A lot of
I
guys
love
are.
that.
And
Yeah, I
he's
love that.
I feel like those type of players, like those 4-year college players, are becoming more and more popular right now. I mean, because teams are looking for people who can compete now and can like take care of like something off the bench with these young guys, and they're still considerably young. Like Buddy Hield, like coming from Oklahoma, 4 years, or 3 or 4 years, and he made an impact immediately with New Orleans. Obviously, he's bounced around like throughout the year, but now like those 4-year players are becoming more and more important, I feel like, to the league.
Yeah. I love that, that draft analysis and the player comp to Luka Garza. I've always loved Luka Garza's game. I think he hasn't really gotten enough minutes to show his true game in the NBA. I don't know if it really translates like how good he was in college to the NBA, but maybe if he goes to a different team or something, I think he could flourish. But going back, so the Kings only have a second round pick this year. We're deep into the Kings. So who is someone that you think the Kings should try and get in this second round? Because Lord knows we need a lot of help in here in Sacramento.
Man, um, I'm trying
If
to think. What do you think is the biggest hole in the roster? If let's say
Lengthy
you hit a gold
wing.
mine in the second round, what position would you want it to be?
we need like a
Either a point guard or, a 3-and-D wing that's not plays super soft like Keegan does most nights.
also kind of I want to move Domas to power forward instead of playing center all the
I
time.
know. I don't love it, though. He's too slow. Yeah, we need guys that we have no athleticism. No one really is a dog. We don't really have any lengthy wings besides Keegan and Keon. But yeah, there's a lot of holes on this team.
So upside 3-and-D guy, a Thiero from Arkansas, played a year at Kentucky and transferred there. Crazy athletic, super strong. The shot looks pretty good to me. He's kind of like so Justin Edwards from Kentucky went undrafted last year, was pretty good for
Yep.
Philly.
Yep.
I thought a Thiero was more talented than him. And he probably falls to the second round just because he didn't put up huge numbers and is still a little bit raw, but I think I just like the way he competes, super high motor. And there's been a lot of discourse during the playoffs about basketball becoming more and more of like a weak link kind of sport. And, um, if you can just have a guy that plays really hard and can guard multiple positions and like, not be just a liability shooting the basketball. Like I see he's kind of like a bigger Tari Eason.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't know if he has that motor. Tari Eason's motor is insane, but I like him a lot. And then as a big man, a late riser, a guy named Yannick Conan Niederhauser went to Penn State, transferred from Northern Illinois. 7-footer, super bouncy and long, really good shot blocker, and can put the ball on the floor and shoot the three a little bit. Has been really impressed with the teams, and I'm seeing him mocked late second round, and especially with a lot of guys going back to school. I think he's a name that could creep towards the top of the second round and has a ton of upside. And then one other name, just in that realm of the weak link sport, another riser who I think could push towards the lottery at this point is Cedric Coward from Washington State. Really great kid. I watched my guy League him, did an interview with him, breaking down some film, and 7'2" wingspan, just does all the little things. And like, just again, like watching these playoffs, you start to see like the different molds of players that I personally like want in the draft. And like Cedric Coward is just a guy that I think can come in and be a good role player immediately and just has upside to be like an elite role player.
Yeah.
And as Pierre always says, like most guys in the league are role players. And if like you're not drafting a guy to be, a super high shot volume creator on the ball or just like a big that is just a matchup nightmare to play through all the time, like just give me a guy who's going to shoot the three, play hard, play good defense, and
Yeah.
rebound all the little things.
Those are guys you can trust to play minutes in the playoffs. Doesn't matter how many minutes they play, but Pierre says that all the time too. I need someone who's I can trust to play in meaningful games, and that sounds like the guys you're describing. So
You look
I
at,
hope teams
last
listen.
thing on this.
Yeah.
You look at some teams like I mean the Knicks have used their bench a little bit more lately. The Warriors stood out to me.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think other teams from the first round, but it's like this guy or the Magic with with the lack of scoring. It's like it's crazy to me or the Lakers not having a big man to play off the bench. It's crazy to me that there's so many good basketball players and there's teams in the playoffs like damn, like we don't have the manpower. Like we don't have enough guys who can play in this game, and like that's just wild to me. So it's like that's the floor you're trying to hit. Like can we get a guy that's not going to be picked? Like their teams, like if the Warriors had a couple extra guys that weren't bad, like I know Kuminga played well in spurts. Like I said, my boy Post was okay in spurts, like Looney in spurts, but it's like their role players just were not good enough. They needed Buddy Hield and Pods to be like fantastic, or they had no chance. And like that was asking a lot of them. So
Yeah.
a lot of teams. I mean, people knocked on last draft class a lot. There's a lot of good players that are going to play in the league from that draft class, and I think the same one about this. So
Yeah.
just don't fuck it up.
Yeah, I feel like the draft just keeps getting better and better. Like as the years go on, I feel like deeper in the draft. I know the NIL's kind of making things a lot different where people are going back to school more, But those 4-year guys are guys that definitely can contribute on playoff teams. So I like that a lot. We only have a couple minutes left though before the Zoom ends, but I wanted to get your all-time college starting 5 from any era. Just your
My
all-time
favorite players or the best?
Your favorite college starting
your
5.
Immediate guys that you would pick.
Man, I'm such a point guard guy. Like I wanted to say
all
5
point guards.
let me try to think.
You can go a little small ball.
Yeah.
You can go.
I've got to start. So I grew up. My dad worked for the Big East as a kid, which was amazing because I was at the game where he hit the step back, and I was able to.
There.
Oh my god!
Part of it was the coolest thing I was ever at.
Yeah.
The fact that he did that just set me up for who I am now. I'm kind of a fan of just a lot of teams, and like I used to get made fun of by my boys in middle school and stuff. Or just like it's like I have a Louisville shirt that just won a championship. I'm like, yo, I rock with Louisville. You can't just say I'm a bandwagon. Like, sorry, like I was rooting for them last year and the year before too. Anyways, Kemba and Shabazz were just growing up. Even though the Providence, who's like my team, and UConn are rivals in the Big East, like I like them both. Like, sorry, I'm a kid, and like my dad works the Beast, I'm gonna like them both. My UConn fandom wasn't, after Kemba and Shabazz, like I kind of was like, you know what, I'm from Providence, I gotta rock with the Friars more. But Kemba and Shabazz were just special to me. Like those runs are unbelievable, and to like be a fan at that age for those guys to just go on those crazy runs was just unreal. I loved Tyler Dorsey from Oregon, and I also loved Jordan.
We saw him play.
Yeah, we saw him play
against Lonzo. Yeah.
And I might even throw Jordan Bell on there because he was on that team. Yeah. I love that Oregon team.
They were nice.
They were so fun. And Jordan Bell was just a monster because their big man, I think it was Chris Boucher. Yeah, it was Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher got hurt right before the tournament.
Yeah.
And Jordan Bell just had to play the 5. And he's 6'8", and he was just a monster. And he got himself drafted because of what he did on that run, just blocking shots, rebounding everything. And then Tyler Dorsey was
legend. Yeah,
absolutely. Champion. But Tyler Dorsey shot like 60% from deep in the tournament. He was awesome.
I do remember him.
I'm gonna throw.
I was just gonna say it could be the guys right behind you.
I'm gonna throw Andrew Nembhard in there. I loved Andrew Nembhard in college at Florida and Gonzaga. We'll put him at the 3. We gotta look at a guard heavy lineup.
Hey, I like his brother too. His brother's gonna be nice.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's definitely little, but he showed at the combine like, you don't just average. Like he broke so many assist records.
I know,
Takes care of the ball, and he doesn't shoot it great, but people didn't think Andrew shot it great, and he shoots it plenty good now. Andrew obviously just has that size, so I don't know what Ryan's role is, but he's gonna get drafted. And he's just that dad knows how to raise a point guard.
Kings need a point guard.
I'm
down. I've been saying that. But yeah, is that 4? You got 4 point guards out there, or no? Maybe Tyler Dorsey's not a point guard.
Let me get a big.
Yeah, one big. Trying to think.
All right, this is a deep cut.
Sounded like a quiz.
It's not that deep cut. It's just kind of a sicko cut. I loved Cameron Krutwig on Loyola Chicago.
That's throwing me off.
Damn.
I just love so I was at the Final Four when he was a freshman starting for Loyola against Michigan that had Duncan Robinson and Mo Wagner.
Oh yeah.
Xavier Simpson.
Jordan Poole was on that team. Yeah.
And Cam Krutwig was just this like big chunky guy who was just like with a mustache and looked goofy, and I'm like, this guy's a true freshman, like getting buckets in the post right now. And then when he was a senior is when they upset Illinois with Ayo Dosunmu, just carving, just like making sick passes. Like I don't know why he came to mind, but like I was just a big fan of him, and like it's hard not to root for the mid-major teams that turn up.
I mean,
I like that.
That's my favorite. Like mid-major teams are like in college ball all the time, just like, all right, you guys need to make it fun. We need you guys to make this tournament a real thing right now.
Yeah.
But one little fun question I wanted to ask you: how was it holding the Larry O'Brien? The Larry O'Brien.
Wanted to ask that.
I mean, seeing those pictures on the show, I was like, damn, they had the Larry O'Brien trophy with them. They're just hanging on to it. Like, how was that feeling? Just like, I mean, you see it.
It didn't feel real. It was hard for me to wrap my head around that was the actual one. But I mean,
was it heavy?
It was heavy, but not as heavy as I thought it would be.
Okay. And
I wasn't like terrified that I was going to drop it.
That's disappointing.
That would be pretty scary. Then, the Thunder are getting the trophy all chipped from you dropping it. That'd be crazy. But the guys also said that all the teams or whatever were engraved into it,
Yeah.
so that sounded pretty cool.
Yeah, it was dope.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
All right, 2 more questions. We got 4 minutes. But your favorite NBA player growing up? I know it might be Jeremy Lin. You said that as a Knicks guy.
No, it was Westbrook. It was Westbrook.
Oh, Westbrook.
I did love me
Okay.
some Jeremy
Yeah.
Lin, but it was
Yeah.
Westbrook.
Yeah.
That's what
Shout out. Yeah, you're with that guy right there.
I'm glad I can relate to
Yeah.
that.
And did you play basketball in high school? Were you a hooper? I saw your shot the other day. It looked pretty nice.
I stopped playing after freshman year. There were so
Okay.
many guards. I wasn't that good. I played soccer and baseball
Yeah.
too, so I was just never like really committed to hoop. I honestly didn't love playing as much as I do now, until like when I was a freshman in college, I started playing pickup a lot, and I was like, damn, I suck. Like I should be better than I am. And then
Yeah.
I started, and then it happened, and I just like started shooting all the time in my driveway and became like a pretty good shooter from mid range, and that just kind of became my game. And then I wasn't even like a high motor player when I was younger. Like I wasn't that fast or strong. I'm just, had grown into my body and put on a lot more weight since then. Like so now I'm kind of just like this. I just love to play hard. Like I love
Yeah.
to guard. I love to rebound. I love to push. And while I can't shoot threes still, which is annoying, but I'm getting better at getting downhill, and I'm money from 15 feet off the bounce. So I just love to play.
Yeah.
And it was cool for me that like, um, just playing in college, like with kids who were like good high school basketball players, or in suburban, not like legit, but like that
Yeah.
I could like hold my own, and, like play in the game.
Mhm.
Because I wasn't I wasn't like a high school basketball player.
Yeah.
But I love to hoop. I
Okay.
do it.
Okay. Yeah, well, I guess if you have anything more, Luke, I guess that can be it. That was a little over the time that we planned on, but thank you so much for joining us, man. That was really fun.
That was
yeah.
that's
Love,
perfect for
yeah.
us.
Love enjoy basketball, love numbers on the board, love everything you're doing for them. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man. That was awesome.
Appreciate you guys. Glad to see the guys just continue to inspire people to
Yeah.
start stuff. They're just the model of look what you can do if you just stay with it. So shout out to you guys. Keep
Yeah.
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 Thanks for
We're almost a year into starting this radio show.
almost
so,
a year.
Yeah.
Thanks
months.
thanks for making it up for us. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming on. We really appreciate it.
Got you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll close out Beam City Sports. Thank you, Christian. We will stop recording.
Cheers.